What's going on there, YouTube? Saturday night again. Saturday evening right now. Getting an early start today. Watched there in the intro. Doing some brainstorming still on the mud truck / rat crawler. I don't know what it's going to be yet. You can see I've got that hood on there. Just playing with some ideas because of the limited space. I don't know if I'm going to be able to throw one of my scale engines on that truck. Since all my scale engines are just scale engines, they don't have the ability to put a electric motor inside. It really eats up a lot of space, so it interferes with suspension travel and stuff like that. So, not sure yet. That hood it fits the curve of the body really well. I narrowed it and sectioned it down a little bit. Still sets up kind of high and makes the body set a little higher. So I don't know about that. Here I've got the number 4 build. I'm still playing with that chassis that I made. I'm about decided against the rear cantilever setup just because it's unnecessary. There's not really room for it, so I set it up with just shocks in a standard position, and it's still set up way too high in the back. This is the ride height that I want. Unfortunately, this is the rear axle bottomed out on that frame, so there's going to have to be some changes made to that chassis, and hopefully we can look at some of that today too. Back to the mud truck. I've got it set up there with the RC 4-wheel drive Yoda 2s that I had on the mud truck frame that we built back in the first Saturday night video. Because I bought that SEX10 deadbolt, and I kind of really liked it, and I wanted to build a China JK body on it. So I got to looking. I got a JK body. It's used, got some stickers and a crack in the windshield, but I got it for a decent price. And I know they're available through GCM, the the front motor plate, but it's expensive. $127, I think. I can't justify that. I know they make some knockoff ones from China, but then you still got to buy their little transfer case separate. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. That still may get used for the rat crawler, because that frame I have it on is an SEX10 frame, and that body is, I think it'd be pretty easy to mount that body to it. It's already notched in the back for the frame rails, and everything with it just kind of seems to jive. So that is the plan for that. So I just threw those axles under it so I could have a rolling model to brainstorm with. I did some sanding on that body. I painted it a bad coat of some kind of green. What's it called? Sage. It's a Rust-Oleum Painter's Choice, Painter's Touch satin paint. And you can see quite a bit of print grain in it. So I started sanding it. I'll probably come back once we get further along, and I'll do a heavy coat of primer and sand it down just a little bit to smooth it up some, because it makes a lot of difference. I mean, this thing, it's got 4 or 5 coats of paint on it, and it got most all the grain out. And it's a Shapeways print, so not a lot of grain in it to start with. In case you're wondering, that hood is the same as the hood from the number 3 body that I got from Nightcrawlers 3D. You can find him on Instagram. He's still selling those bodies and truck cabs and lots of different variations of those. And he's a pretty good guy to work with. He's helped me out quite a bit, and we had some fun together for a while doing rat rod stuff. So if you're looking for any of that stuff, he sells it separate. You can buy the hood and the grill, and you can buy the whole body. You can buy the body chopped, higher roof, whatever you want. So yeah, that cab, it was from Shapeways. It was kind of neat, the curve of that hood lined up, since they are 2 completely different designs, printed different places, designed by different people. Update on the sand scorcher. It is not going to be in this video. I'm waiting on more parts from Shapeways. They are kind of sponsoring that build, as well as the rat crawler build. So I've got another box due in Wednesday or Thursday from Shapeways with all sand scorcher stuff, which I'm pretty excited about. They've got the Junkyard Stance store on Shapeways, He's got all those cool apocalypse style things for the Sand Scorcher, and I had to, I had to be reasonable. I couldn't. I put everything he makes in the cart, and it was like $650. So I knocked it down a little bit, and just got some basics and some cool little add-ons and things like that. So next week, hopefully, we'll get to start doing more on that. I still didn't get any map gas, so I can't finish trying to braze my windshield louvers for that. But I do have the other body now, the other Sand Scorcher body, which I'm planning on doing kind of a retro Baja feel, kind of a box art type build. Just traditional. So that's an old style kit. But yeah, I've just been slowly accumulating parts for that, and yeah, so it's coming. So I guess let's look at this number 4 frame and see what we can do different. Alright, so looking at the rear, I've got everything stripped down. I had the shocks mounted up here. The cantilever arms used to mount there and the shock was back here, but it really didn't affect the ride height any. So right now, that is where I need it to sit, ride height wise. So this cross member and this tube are going to have to come out, and that way we at least have a little bit of up travel. I need about, at least a 1/4 inch of travel. I mean, this isn't going to be an off-road car. I'm not sure if, I forgot to point it out. I stretched these, 1.7 super wides RC 4-wheel drive semi-tires that I stretched on some 1.9 wagon wheels. And they're still not a very good road tire, but they're less aggressive than using the dirt grabbers and stuff. But these are probably going to be the back tires on this build. They just, they're the right height, they're skinny, they look good, they don't rub the body. So I do plan on weathering all the wheels to look like this one. I tried this a long time ago using some kind of a brown wash I've got from Vallejo, and it looks pretty good. I'm liking it, so I'm going to do all 4 of those. Might get to that in this video, depending on how this goes. So I've got to cut this off and then get this cross member out, and then I've got to figure out a new way to mount a shock. Something better, because this isn't going to work. It isn't in any direction. On the number 2 build, I use those scale airbags. I know I've got another pair of them laying around somewhere. They're Lesu semi-truck scale airbags. And I had them mounted on a custom bracket off the back of the axle. So if I could extend something out to that and bolt them to the frame at the top. I don't know. There's a... Well, that might work. Is that... that might work right there. It fits... There's one hole in the bottom. I could run a screw from the bottom up into the airbag. Then I just have to bring the frame rail back. That's pretty close. Alright, well, let's explore that option here. But first I gotta get all that stuff cut off. Oops, alright, that didn't go as planned. That chassis was welded with my stick welder, and it didn't survive the cutting. This side over here broke. It's not still holding, but the where I drilled the hole for the suspension mount to start with weakened it severely. The weld's still holding, but the metal itself wasn't strong enough, and it ended up bending, and the whole thing got out of whack, so it is scrap, I'm afraid. Frustrating, but with disaster comes creation, I guess. I don't know. I just mocked this up with these tires and wheels, and that something about that hood and that body and these tires and wheels and that kind of wheelbase looks pretty cool. Maybe a truck bed. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with this, guys. This whole video all week I've been planning on doing the rat crawler project, but I don't know what I want to do now. This body Could be so many things. I don't know. I need to do some more brainstorming and come back. Alright guys, so I know I get criticized all the time because I don't finish things. I've got so many different projects going, and just like that chassis wasn't great. I didn't have the right welder at the time, and it just wasn't perfect, and it broke, so let's make a new one. That's why things never get finished, because you got all these different projects, and just you might find something you like better halfway through and need to start over. And that's just how I build stuff. I mean, I don't have just one thing to focus on and all that. It's just, to me, the fun is the building. And I learn from each mistake I make, and we may start over, may switch bodies, switch directions, and that's just how I work. So I'm going to try something different with this chassis. There's going to be less bends, and I think so far, the way I've got everything mocked up, suspension will mount about here. We'll have mounting holes for that Kevin Kirk engine, and then we'll figure out a front suspension later. As far as steering goes, I'm thinking I'm still using these axles, these drop axles for the Tamiya Semi, and they're just not wide enough to be able to do an actual steering link from the side of the body. Even with this smaller body, it's just not plausible. So thinking like I'm going to do like on number 1 and put a small micro servo on the front axle. It'll be hidden behind the Farmall tractor grill, so it'll be completely hidden out of sight. But yeah, let's see what we can come up with.